Look at that. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the District 3 meeting tonight. I really appreciate you being here. As you can see, this evening we have a bit of a different format. We have all of the city directors here, and we're very excited to hear from them. But primarily this evening, we're here to hear from Mayor Kaufusi, and we're so happy that you're here tonight. All I'm going to be doing is saying hi to our wonderful mayor and then stepping out of the way and letting her take it from here. So that's all the introduction we're going to start with tonight. And I would really like to everybody welcome Michelle.
For those of you that don't know me, my name is Mayor Michelle Kaufusi, and I am your mayor. And we are thrilled to be here. Every year we come, COVID shut us down for a while, but every year for one neighborhood meeting, I come and present. And my PIO used to sit up here. Why are we back there hiding? But I come and I bring all the directors. So this is the only time in a neighborhood meeting you're gonna have the whole heavy hitting group in the room. And I love it because this is our chance to kind of give a report card on how we're doing and either how we're helping or not helping you. And then we open it up to Q&A. So this is kind of how we run the meeting, just so we have a good heads up of what's going to happen. And I'll have the directors and whoever's here in the director's place introduce themselves. And then after that, I will show a short little video to kind of tell you some things that why I'm talking. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my report card. I'm reporting to you on how I'm doing as your mayor, so that you can judge me and let me know your feedback. And then we've got some questions that were submitted, which we appreciate. And my directors that it falls under their departments will take those questions and answer them. But I'm in a stickler because at 7:15 I am stopping, even if we've only answered one, and we will email the questions, the answers. It's at 7:15 for the last 15 minutes. I want to just open it up. I want all of you to think of any question that you've ever had about me, about the city, and just pepper us with your questions. And for 15 minutes, we'll just go ham and you guys can just let us. So again, I just want to say how much I appreciate my director's support. They really are the magic that makes this city happen. And each of them is near and dear to my heart. And they're hard workers. Again, we have been here since 7 this morning. And so when the mayor says, can all of you come with me for 5 Thursdays in a row and stay an extra hour and a half? No one even bats an eye, city mayor, whatever you need, we're there to support. So it's really exciting and just melts my heart that they're so supportive of their mayor. So let's go, I'll start over here with my work director and just director, say your name and what you're over, and I'll just pass it down.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Dave Decker. I'm the worst director for Provo City.
I'm Amanda Erkenbrot. I'm the customer service director of Provo 31.
My name is Brian Jones, and I'm the city attorney.
Bill Pepperoni, Director of Development Services. Development Services includes planning, zoning, building inspection, economic development, redevelopment, home and CDBG funding. So we have quite a big range of things we do in the department.
Good evening. I'm Jim McGill, and I'm your fire chief.
John Morgan, the Director of Administrative Services, which includes finance, HR, IT, and the Justice Court, as well as facilities.
Wayne Parker. Wayne Parker, and this is Chief Administrative Officer.
Carla Gordon, I'm the library director. Nicole Martin, I'm over communications, so all of your resident outreach, all of the dealings with the media, all of that comes through my office.
Troy Beebe, I'm your police chief.
Jonathan Saloni, representing Provo Power. Travis didn't make it tonight, so I'll fill in.
Doug Robbins, Assistant Director of Budget and Allocation.
Okay, I think it's on. So those are they are the head honchos of the city. They are in charge of some as many as hundreds of employees. And so be thinking of questions that you would like to ask them, and we will be here to answer your questions. Let's go ahead and start with this short little video that we recently showed in my State of the City. That's just kind of fun and tells you about what's going on in your wonderful city.
Several cities where private letters. Safe and sound. They serve as both a visionary statement of what we strive to be. This free for our city. Institute recognized Provo City as the nation's best performing city for the second year in a row. Mayor Kaufusi accepting the top award. 14 other deserving cities, including Austin, Miami, Denver, and Los Angeles. But being good should never be good enough. We setting our standards even higher. We should. This new standard is now the driving force of the Provo City emissions rate. Exceptional order, exceptional community. So what does it mean to be exceptional? Definition, it means unusually bold or outstanding. Exceptional community. Exceptional results. Only with exceptional people and exceptional working together. While there's much to this, we have to work together with community for the exceptional standards we are achieving and the shared spirit of continued success. Coming together.
So that's just a little snippet of some of the fun things we're doing in the city. Let me just explain the sound system. I mean, you're in this public safety building that is winning awards for being the top public safety building in the nation, and we don't even have sound. We have it, it's just the supply chain. It's purchased, it was supposed to be here months ago, and you know how it goes. Next year, when I am here, probably even your next meeting, this room will be up and running to the standard it's supposed to be. So thanks for bearing with us with that little tiny voice coming out. All right, so the Provo pillars, that's introducing my report card. And you're wondering, where did you come up with these Provo pillars of welcoming, economically vibrant, safe and sound and forward looking? I came up from these when we asked the citizens, we sent out a survey and said, what is the expectation? What do you want from your mayor? We collected all our information and then we put it into these 4 headings and placed underneath them our goals and how we're doing. So let's just start. And I always think of this way, right? I always think our number 1 priority is welcoming. Because to me, being born and raised here and a Provo girl through and through, welcoming matters. Everybody belongs in Provo and should feel welcomed. So on our Provo pillars, I can't, the banner, I can't, it's back here. So I'm just gonna read the things that are on it. So here, look at you, you're fancier than us. Look at that. So I'm just gonna go through this first welcoming banner, and I'm just gonna read these off, and then we kind of met as directors and picked the key ones that might be important to your area that you live in and represent. So our first one is our Provo Parks and Recreation. It just recently won Best in the Nation with the National Gold Medal Award, and it's nationally accredited. So literally, I mean, sometimes I think we get a little like, oh, Provo keeps winning accolades. This is so huge. We won the award. They flew back. Where was that again? Nashville. And I said, I want to go with you guys because I can't wait to see it. I'm like, man, we don't even know if we're going to get it. What if we don't? We'll be embarrassed. No. Provo Parks and Rec won the best recreation center in the nation. The gold medal award is the highest accolade you can win. So if you, you help me not enjoy some of our amenities with our rec center, our pizza ice arena, our golf course, our library, our happy center, all of those fall under our Parks and Rec umbrella, and they do an amazing job. So next, our Provo Regional Sports Park. This is something that's very new and exciting. So just a little backstory. When I became mayor 5 years ago, every time I come in, I say, all right, directors and staff, I'm giving you some goals. Let's get some goals so that at least we all know what we're trying to achieve. And I always tell my staff, we're swinging for the fences. Nothing is out of reach. Let's pick things that you might think, oh, mayor will never get this done. I don't care. We're gonna throw it up on the board. We're gonna talk through it. And last term, I put up the big 5, and we accomplished every single one of those big 5. This term, I threw up the big 6. These guys, see, they just proved that they can do amazing things, so I made it a little trickier. And this regional sports park is a part of that. So we're gonna come back to that. Another welcoming piece is our new Provo City Hall. It has enhanced the citizen-friendly experience. And like I said, the public safety headquarters, this building is amazing. I was so privileged to walk through the building and the literally building of this building. We learned, I mean, Chief Beebe is like, of course it has to have this amount of thick walls and all of this, but I'm not kidding. This building is no joke. These folks are safe and sound, and they will be there at your crucible moment. So excited about the public safety building. And then this is a big one that's coming around the corner. For those of you that don't know, BYU has officially jumped into the Big 12. We will be joining the Big 12 on July 1st. And you're saying, why does Provo City care about that? The reason we care about that so much is because the economic impact it will have on our city. These teams travel, and I've traveled for football. My kids do it, and I go once in a while with them. And when I go with the kids, I don't go straight to the stadium and have that be my first impression. My first impression is the city. We we get to the city, and we're there, and the game's usually the next day. Then you finally get that impression. So I'm going to do a campaign and a challenge for us to really step up our game. This is a chance for Provo to be the first impression once we step into the Big 12 on July 1st, partnered with BYU. So before we move on, let's go back to the regional sports park. And I'm gonna have Doug. So Scott Henderson is our director. It's his birthday tomorrow. He doesn't want anyone to know, and he goes and hides. He doesn't have the attention. No, he took a vacation day, as he should. And so Doug is really over the Parks and Recs, I mean, the literal parks piece. So he came and said, let's speak to it. So thank you, Doug.
Thanks for the opportunity to talk to you a little bit today about the regional sports park. And this project really exemplifies one of the mayor's four pillars of being welcoming. First of all, we want to be welcome for our own residents. Currently, I'm not sure if you know, but right now there are over 330 sports teams right now that are playing on 11 fields in the city. And that's just not enough. Capacity continues to grow, and our neighborhood parks can't accommodate that kind of wear. This facility is going to welcome our community players, youth and adult sports players in a location that can accommodate that kind of play during the week for our league play, recreational league play, and then also competitive league play. It'll also have neighborhood type facilities with a walking path all the way surrounding this, where you can do stacked loop blocks. Would be a nice wide path. We'll have some playgrounds, restroom facilities, and even some pickleball. You can see actually this is not an updated map, but we've got some pickleball that we're trying to fund right now that we're going to the bottom corner. So that will provide activities for people and residents of all ages. We want to be welcome to our visitors. Local kids in this community have never been able to hold and host a local sports tournament. This is going to allow kids and their families to host that tournament, invite other teams to come to this area and spend a few nights here in Provo playing in the tournament. They'll also keep our local dollars here local. We'll be inviting those local sports tourism dollars to come to Provo. Travel sports tourism is a multi-billion-dollar industry in the United States. It's growing at a rate of about 6% annually. So we're excited to be able to lock into some of those opportunities. We expect over 200,000 participants and spectators to attend and utilize this place. And we're known as the crossroads of the West here, and this is really why our location is really prime. There are some large facilities down in Arizona, also California, but there are none in the Intermountain region. And so when it's hot down in the desert Southwest in the heat of the summer, when it's 118 degrees, these teams are going to want to come to Provo and play at our milder temperatures on our fields here. We wanted to have a welcome design. And the design we came up with has unsurpassed traffic flow. Working with Public Works and the arterial roads that are coming in and out of this facility, it'll be able to empty out after games. And those of you that travel to sports facilities know how troublesome that can be when traffic gets loaded up before and after games. Also proximity to I-15 and within walking distance of the new Provo Airport. So everything is aligned for future success here. And also we want to make sure that those coming to this facility feel welcome here in Provo and Utah Valley. This facility, when it's completed, will serve also with the Peaks Ice Arena, Timpanogos Golf Club, and our recreation center to be another one of those pillar type welcoming facilities. So when people come to Provo, they've got a multitude of activities they can engage in and spend their time and their vacation dollars with us here in Provo. So we're excited about this project and how it fits into one of their pillars of being welcoming. Thank you very much.
But why don't you tell them the projected opening date?
Right now, we're continuing to construct the site. We'll be working on parking lots and filling the site with soil and building other structures. We should be sodding about this time next year, and we hope to be playing in the fall of 2024 on the fields.
It's really exciting, and if you've been out to our airport, as you exit out of the airport, if you just look kitty corner, that's where this regional sports park is going to land. All right, let's go on to our next pillar. So safe and sound. This was such a high priority, as it should be for the citizens when we sent out the survey. And it's a high priority for me. So safe and sound, our Provo City state-of-the-art public safety headquarters. It's already, it's just amazing. It's a miracle, right? It's amazing. The 2022 Award of Excellence building was the award we recently just received from the Industrial Division Project. Fire Station 2. Fire Station is the first fire station in over 20 years that Provo City has built. And I'm trying to think if I tag, well, we tried to pick projects that are more in your neighborhood. But Chief, why don't you just talk for a minute about it, because it's such a big deal for us. And then also Fire Station 1, which is coming online shortly.
Well, good evening. Fire Station number 2 is up above the BYU Cougar Stadium. And it was a rebuild of a 1956 rebuild. And it has actually been a wonderful thing to serve the community up in that end of town. It has, for all of the residents of Provo, it has a community center. So we have built on a community room where you have the opportunity to come for no charge. Just call the fire department and make reservation. There's a room we can seat in this style. We can seat about 60 people at tables. We can seat about 30 people. So it's available for community meetings, or we have a lot of different activities. A lot of community education takes advantage of it, and so it's been very successful. What's a little bit more in your backyard is our new fire station number 1. As you have seen, they are in the process of tearing down this building. The first building they tore down was where the fire station sat, and it was ambulance quarters. We had just an ambulance there, and so we are going to start probably late spring, and by late spring, I'm talking about late May, start construction on new fire station number 1. And fire station 1 not only serves the downtown, but it serves the southwest area. And it is a support to all of our fire stations because of its central location. So we're excited about that. Our master plan, our fire master plan, calls for, in addition to our ambulance there, it calls for a staffed fire engine there. And we're working now on a federal grant to actually staff that station at some point in the next couple of years. So excited about that, excited what it means for not only the fire department, but advanced life support services throughout.
And he emphasized that community room. I'm going to emphasize it as well. When we built Fire Station 2, that idea just came to me and I just thought we have got to do something for the public. We want you to use that community room. It's free. Call, reserve it. I mean, you name it, it's been there. We want you to utilize it. Please come and use the community room. On top of this community room now that is also for use, that is now a free public community room for you to use. And on top of it, you get the perk of meeting the most amazing firefighters because they are so accommodating. They come down, they visit, unless they're on call. They clean up, it's just great. So please utilize that piece. All right, 2 pedestrian bridges, and the first is 600 South and First West. And that's our one down by our Farmer Station. We thought this might be one you're interested in since it's kind of in your area. The second one is over University Avenue near the old Provo High. So I actually was just in a meeting up at BYU about this. We're getting ready to make some changes with the purchase of the old Provo High that BYU purchased. Again, they've been telling me, and they told me again today, that probably in 2 to 4 months, they'll make their announcement of what's going there. But we are trying to figure out a way to protect bikers and pedestrians. We need to be safer across University Avenue, and putting in a bridge there will be a huge key component for safety. In the meantime, we've already broke ground on this other one, and I'll turn it the time today to talk about our Tiger grant and how we were able to get the money for this one down by Front Runner.
Thank you, Mayor. Very quickly, I'm just going to cover the pedestrian bridge at 600 South and 100 West. As the mayor indicated, several years ago, we applied for a grant through UTA. It's called the Tiger Grant. And it's been kind of a long process, but we've been trying to be patient with the railroad and UTA and a number of other agencies that are involved in getting the permits. But we've just recently broke ground, as the mayor indicated. It's the bridge is under construction. It's located on 100 West, so it's just 1 block east of Freedom Boulevard, and it primarily serves pedestrians trying to accessing the commuter Front Runner station. And we were concerned, at that station open, we're seeing pedestrians trying to get through that crossing, sometimes with trains, cars. It's been a real challenge, and so we're excited to see this bridge under construction, and it should be completed this fall. So it's should be a pretty quick process. Again, hopefully the agencies involved will cooperate with this. So thank you.
And something about this bridge as well that I put in is for bikes. I don't know if you've crossed one of the newer bridges. They have these great little where you lock your tires in and it walks right up with you. So you're going to just love it. It's going to be a great asset for our community, especially down there. The next item that I'm reporting on is our Wild Urban Interface Program. If you want to scan this QR code, or we'll actually send it out to all of you. It talks about how we've tackled this wildland preparedness. If we all know, California tends to catch on fire and then it blows into Utah. And we get the benefits of all their ash and smoke. And so we've become really proactive with this, thanks to our amazing leadership of our chief and his staff. We are out there gathering the limbs, cleaning out the underbrush, and we're asking you to engage as well. And if you'll put it out on the street, we'll come and take it. We'll chip it and take it. So maybe Chief, just give a date of when that's going to start, or are we going to send information that'll show?
We will send information, but we anticipate that we will be actually out on the streets doing some of the limb removal and the fuel work. And we will be sending things out to the neighborhoods, but I would imagine that this is going to be just about May 1st.
Okay, hold your question, Greg. We're going to just get through our report and then we'll take all the questions. All right, and then the next one is our fire station one that we talked about that will be right here on this property, open in fall 2024. That's just gonna be amazing. And then the piece we also want to point out is Provo was ranked the #1 safest city, big city in the state of Utah, which we're so excited and proud, and that's just due to leadership in our police department, thanks to our chief and I'm gonna just guess the number today, usually I know it, 117 officers. 120, I was 3 off, 120 amazing officers we have in this city that their #1 concern, the minute they wake up and their feet hit the ground, is how do we protect the fellow citizens? And it has shown, and people have taken note, the #2 safest city in the whole United States of America is a huge accolade for them. So really proud of you, chief, and all the great work you're doing. We have great police officers. All right, let's move on to economically vibrant. Why does Mayor care so much about the economy? I care about the economy because Provo is such a unique city. If you think about Provo and our tax base, we're the only city that I know of that runs on about 52% taxes. You give me another city that has 2 Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints temples, the largest private university, an MTC, a regional hospital, and I can go on, but none of them are taxable, right? We don't get property taxes from them. That impacts our school board, that impacts the city. And so economic vibrancy matters to me because anytime I can pull in business or disposable spending, like the folks that will come in for these regional soccer tournaments, BYU will hold soccer tournaments, lacrosse tournaments, rugby tournaments. Everyone that comes in for those are going to spend money in Provo, which will lift the school board and the city. So economically vibrant matters to me. So again, the regional sports park with $40 million in local spending every year is the projection. Now, I'm just going to tell you, we're probably Friday projectors. We projected when we cut the ribbon on our airport that hopefully people will like it in about a year, and yet here we are and we're already out of capacity. So we are just thinking 40 million, but I will not be surprised if that number is much larger. So let me go back up to the new target we just announced. We have a target coming to Provo. It's really exciting. It's going down in our mall area and it's moving into the space that used to be Dillard's. So if you think about targets, pardon?
Cheers.
No, it's Dillard's. I bet in it. It's Dillard's.
The other end.
It's oh, Target. You know, they send us these mock-ups. It is in all of the Dillard's spots. The exciting piece about this is if you've been to Florence, you know, they are 100,000 square feet. If your Spanish Fork is getting one, theirs is about that same size. This Target is going to be a super Target with a huge grocery component. The square footage of this one is 138,000 square feet. It is a no joke Target. And I can't tell you how excited I am. I was telling some people in the past meeting that something therapeutic about, even if I don't need a dang thing from Target, but to get that cart and walk up and down the aisles at 10:30 at night, because I can't sleep or I'm worried, there's something to it. So we are beyond excited and over the moon about this huge super Target coming to Provo with the grocery component. All right, I mentioned the Provo airport, but now you see the word international. What is she thinking? Again, we cut the ribbon in August, and within a few months, we are at capacity. We can't even park it. We're parking it because we mow down fields. Dave's like, easy, Mayor. But we have mowed down fields so people can park. But we're courting Legacy. Actually, they're starting to court us. If airlines, these folks I've been meeting with and talking to, if they were to call me tomorrow and say, okay, Mayor, we're coming, you just need to let us start July 1, I would have to say no. We have zero capacity. We are completely filled our 4 gates. Everything is completely filled. So we were able to open that Target without a single dime on the taxpayers and with zero debt. We did a strategy and it worked. We went and we got money from the federal government, FAA. We went to the state and they were so generous and gave us a chunk. The county gave us a chunk, the TTAB, and then MAG, our partners in MAG gave us a chunk. And there, lo and behold, and we put in our chunk Provo City put in their chunk. And we were able to open this amazing airport. How many of you have used it or utilized it yet? It's amazing. Get ready. The artwork's not even up yet. I've only used Provo artists. The stained glass actually is up, but we're gonna have a ceremony for that because she's so amazing, our local Provo gal. So we're going at it again, and we just did. We were up at the state. I'm sure Representative Judkins was sick of seeing us up there begging for more money. But if there's money, we're gonna go get it. I've been back to DC 3 times. I'm going again next week, getting earmarks. The county has already pitched in. We were able to land 10 million from the county. We were able to land 3 million from the state. And I've already got 1 earmark in DC, and we'll be getting more. So to do this expansion, it looks like it will probably be pretty much close, right, Dave, to what the initial building. Something we did that was very forward-looking was when we built it, we knew we only had a certain amount of money to spend on it. And anyone that's in government knows the stuff that really matters is the ugly infrastructure that's in the ground that nobody sees. It's the most expensive, and it makes all the difference in the world. So we thought, let's go ahead. And in the future, we are hoping to get out to 10 gates. So we went ahead and put the infrastructure in the ground for 10 gates. We only had enough money to open 4. So what we're doing now is we have letters of intent already signed and sealed with airlines saying they will fly direct from Provo to Cabo, direct from Provo to Cancun, if we can get the international component. I've learned way more than I ever wanted to about how all this works, but again, I'll do it because if it helps Provo, I'm going to do it. So that is our goal. This is what I'm on the big 6. The Provo Airport was on the big 5. This is now part of the big 6. With 130 million in local spending and 1,000 jobs that we've already made happen because of this airport, it's all gonna potentially double if we can do the expansion, expand out 3 more gates and put the international component in, we're gonna get there. And again, no pressure. I always feel like I pressure the directors. Poor Dave Decker's like mayor, but you know, we're swinging for the fences. If we land it, fantastic. If we don't, we'll just keep working hard until we do land it. So hopefully we'll make the announcement in the next few years about the Provo International Airport. Freedom Commons, it's right down here off of Center Street. It's right off the parking lot of the Sears grocery store. It's the first Class A office space built in downtown Provo in 12 years. The Provo Advantage, we tried to think of a way to tell our story. And this is just the brainchild of my economic development director and my public information officer. They came together with this Provo Advantage, and it's telling Provo's economic story. So if you're not on this mailing list, we want you to get on it. It has had the total impressions of 287,000. Total reaches is over 1 million, and total engagement is 11,000. Now this is a little old. It's gone up since then. So let me just point out, we have a table back here as you walked in. There's all kinds of information on it. One of them is to sign up with your emails if you would like to receive this information. It goes out every month and it's fantastic. Okay. And again, this is just really exciting. The nation's best performing city 2 years in a row. It's nothing your mayor's doing. It's the fact that the mayor comes to work and works with amazing people that make this the best performing city in the world. I had the privilege of going down and speaking at their global conference. And it's just fascinating to get up on the stage with the Miami mayor, the Austin mayor, the Colorado mayor, the Los Angeles mayor, and all 4 of those men are wondering, what in the heck is Provo doing to keep winning this? And I just told them, come on to Provo and I'll show you what we're doing. But it's just a huge compliment to all the employees in the city, to the citizens, to the community, and to the directors. Okay, was someone going to speak on that one, or did I steal their thunder? Oh, Bill. You have a mic?
So just to give you some scale of what size that building is, the Smith on Freedom is 63,000 square feet. The Walmart on Parkway is about 40,000, so this is double the size of the Smiths. You'll enter the Smith on the east side, you'll park on the east side, and enter on that side will be primarily the top floor. They're gonna reconstruct the entrance, and there will be about 10 parking spaces right outside the front door for people who email in their grocery orders, and they can just go pick it up. So it's gonna be very convenient for those type of digital orders. And Provo is just very excited to get this. We've been trying to get a super target since the late 1990s. Louis Billings, when he was mayor, first started this ball rolling. Now here we are, these years later, and we're finally getting it. So we're very excited to have it.
And I'm just gonna have Dave Decker talk just a little bit about the airport. I think Dave's probably like, gonna go home and sleep for a year when I'm done being mayor, because he's really been put to task.
I think the mayor really covered it well as far as the international component. We have, as most of you probably know, we have 2 carriers that are flying out of the airport. And both of them have committed to fly international flights like the mayor indicated. We have several other legacy carriers, more common carriers that are interested in coming. We need some gate space. And the biggest component with the international, if you've ever flown international, it's returning from outside the United States, you have to go through customs. And so that's a unique aspect that we had not anticipated coming as quickly to I'll just add one component. The mayor talked about the expansion. The building was designed for expansion. So when we started this process, we had kind of a long-term goal as far as the gates. So we asked the architect to plan for expansion wings on both sides. And so it's not as difficult as far as the expansion, because we've been planning for it. The customs is a little bit unique to the expansion, but we're able to add that fairly quickly into it. Excuse me. I will add one other thing. I know the mayor probably would not want me to say this, but I think you have to give the credit where credit, excuse me, where credit's due. The original funding that came for the excuse me, the building, the new building is largely due to the work of the mayor, the deputy mayor, and the airport staff. They've done a fantastic job getting the funding for the original building. And now they're back at it again, finding funding for the expansion. And I think it's significant. The FAA told us they have never seen a terminal built without any debt the size that we're building. And so I think it's significant to understand that the mayor and her deputy were able to put funding from about 6 different sources together to build that building with no bonding amount. So that's significant for the city.
Right, let's move to the next one really quick. So forward looking, this is always one I talk about all the time with my staff. I was born and raised here. My kids are all here. I want my kids to stay here. So I'm forward looking. Every decision we make is a 30-year out decision. If we make this decision now, are we gonna look back in 30 years and be glad we made it? That really puts things into perspective. Are we gonna do trashy work? No, we need to do quality work and make it last and make it count. So let me just read through these and then we'll turn it over to poor Dave again. He's gonna talk about, because remember I'm the sewer mayor. I started that. So Preserve Provo campaign, another campaign we're pushing out that is a year-long initiative to educate and empower community to preserve Provo's quality of life. It talks about sustainability and our initiatives and how we're trying to stay in the game of this. The next one is we're doing a brand new website. The website is 10 years old. We're going to improve the website so we will be able to better engage you. I mean, Nicole hates this story, but when we pulled up looking for some information, we pulled it up, it was 9 years old. That's not acceptable to this exceptional community. We actually were in a meeting and we pulled up the COP website and she just about died because half the officers aren't even with us anymore. The website needs to have a refresh. We're going to do that. Okay, the aquifer storage and recovery and the wastewater treatment plant. So the ASR ensures a stable water supply and prepares us for the future drought. This is such a huge, I could spend 2 hours talking in a day that could spend 6, because it's such a forward-looking idea about how to preserve the water for years to come. The wastewater treatment plant is surpasses the new one we're putting in, and again, I'm the sewer mayor and proud of that title. It surpasses current standards to meet anticipated future regulations. And then let's go to the water treatment plant. So don't get those two confused. This water treatment plant ties to our ASR. It's where we grab our water rights, clean the water and throw it up through our system that's already in place and charge it down into our aquifer. So those are kind of tied together. Dave, will you give us just an update on our are amazing. Everyone's gonna wanna come see it. They are, our new sewer treatment plant.
Thank you, Mayor. So several years ago, the state made us aware of some changing regulations. Most of you probably are aware of water quality issues in Utah Lake, and that's kind of the conversation that started the discussion about the wastewater treatment plant. But I have to tell you, really from the public works standpoint, wastewater treatment was an issue mostly because of age of the existing treatment plant. Most people don't know that Provo City was one of the earliest cities in the state that had a treatment plant. Was built in 1956. And the original treatment plant was just basically worn out. And so despite the conversation that was happening about Utah Lake, we really had it on our radar screen already that we needed to replace the treatment plant. And really the only conversation was what treatment process we were going to include at the plant. And it's a very advanced, state-of-the-art treatment process. It's called a membrane bioreactor. And most of the newest plants in the Western United States have this technology. And some of those states actually will reuse that water for other purposes. That's not the intent right now in Provo City, but it actually does put us in a position where we could potentially reuse that effluent coming from the treatment plant for secondary water or some other purpose at some point in the future. The total project right now is $120 million. It's a lot of money. And it's a major project. It's a major rebuild for the city. It's slated to come online in the middle of the year, fall time of 2024. So we've got a number of things coming online in 2024. And would invite you, we'll have some open houses. We'll invite scout groups, education classes to come and tour the facility as it gets closer to being open. It will be a fantastic facility. So it's right next to the existing treatment plant. So it's down in the East Bay area. If you know where Public Works is, it's immediately south of the Public Works building, right across from the old Nobel building.
Okay, so we are running out of time and we had a bunch of questions submitted. So, and interesting enough, I think most of them are gonna fall under Dave Decker. So we have a few more minutes. What will happen is Dave will take these first questions. Okay, you got enough. Thank you. And he'll start with them, and in a few minutes, we'll probably cut him off and open it up to public engagement. And we'll take 15 minutes of that, and then we will get answers to all these submitted questions and send them to the council, and they will send them out to you with the written answers. So Dave, here you go. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to try to answer these questions kind of in three different categories because they from a traffic standpoint, they fall kind of in very similar categories. And I have to tell you, I apologize. Our city engineer, Gordon Haight, would normally be here and cover traffic issues. He had a family event tonight, so I told him that I would cover this for him. So you kind of get a little bit of the B team here on traffic, but I'm gonna try to cover these items. So all the questions related to sidewalk, and there's a number of them in different areas, particularly in the neighborhoods that are represented tonight. There's a number of questions about sidewalks, and many of them pertain to middle school that's coming in that area. And let me just kind of lay out the process as far as selecting sidewalks and where sidewalks go. So on April 12th, there is a meeting with the school district, and they call it the safe walking route. And there's a committee that's put together. There is a representative from our police department on that committee, some traffic people, and then also school district representatives and some citizens. That group goes through and they establish what they call safe walking routes to those schools. And that will make the priority for sidewalks in the area. And so we'll start to look at that safe walking route. And instead of tonight saying, oh yeah, there's going to be a sidewalk on the east side of such and such a road, we're going to let that process kind of play out so that we can start to prioritize where the funding for sidewalks ends up going. So that's kind of the second part of this answer. From a budget standpoint, we've submitted most of these areas. We've requested money for sidewalk already. Now, obviously, there's a lot of missing sidewalk in this area, and the city council is going to have some challenge. I already know that they're gonna have a challenge as far as funding all the sidewalk needs. And so again, what we're gonna see is a process laid out, first the school district with the safe walking route. And then from a budget standpoint, we're gonna get a certain dollar amount allocated, and then we start prioritizing where that sidewalk is put. A couple of additional comments related to sidewalks. So because of the area and the nature of the area, there is a couple of options that we're looking at for sidewalk. Most of you know the traditional sidewalks, the concrete sidewalk, there's curb and gutter and a park strip with it. And if we go into areas that are not developed, it takes a lot of money, primarily because you're forced almost to put in the curb and gutter and finish the street next to that sidewalk. So one of the options that we've laid out for the city council this year, which is a little less from the financial side of things, is to do temporary asphalt sidewalks in some areas. And that'll actually allow us to do more sidewalks because they cost less money. And you don't have to do the curb and gutter, you don't have to extend the street over to the sidewalk area, but you still have a safe area for kids to walk to the school. So we're gonna let a couple of things kind of play out relative to the questions on the sidewalks. So that's the first category. The second category, there's a lot of questions related to intersections and traffic calming devices. The intersections that's identified in the questions, it's 1100 west and 600 south. We already have a consultant on board that's looking at that intersection. We actually did a warrant study. I'm not going to go into the details of what a warrant study is about. But we've already done a warrant study on that intersection. We know that the traffic is going to change with the coming of the middle school in that area. And so we have a consultant looking at turn lanes and turn pockets and traffic calming and crosswalks. There's another question up there about crosswalks. And again, we're gonna let the consultant come back, make some recommendations, and again, let some of these other processes play out. Safe walking routes also not only establish priorities for sidewalks, but they'll establish where the crosswalks are located. So again, we've got a little bit of a process playing out here.
30 seconds, Dave, and I've got to cut us off.
I'm trying to remember the last category here.
Geneva Road, beautification, oh, no.
No, that wasn't it.
That's not it.
We may come back to it. I'm trying to remember what the third category is. Those were the two primary categories that most of the questions fell into.
Okay,
I'm gonna give that back to you. We'll come back to it if we need to.
just because we're trying to stick to allow more people to ask questions, and sometimes it's hard to remember to submit a question. So why don't I go ahead and raise your hand and we'll start calling. We'll let everyone start with one question, okay? Per person, and then if we have time, we'll circle around and let you ask a second. And will you just state your name? I know you, but
My name is Eric Anderson. Just quick question for you is, with the water treatment plant, we're saying it has the ability or the capacity to reuse and turn that water into secondary water. Is there a reason why it's not being done like right out the gate, or what's the pain point? What's the reason not going right?
Well, there's a couple of things that I'll say along that. And you'll think that my first response is, I hope you laugh at it, you chuckle a little bit, but it's perception. And it's just in the state of Utah, we're a little bit behind other Western United States, like Arizona, California, Southern California, they're much further advanced. And the public perception and the acceptability of using effluent from a wastewater treatment plant is simply different. The other thing, from a technology standpoint, we would need to do one other treatment at the end of our membrane bioreactors. It's called advanced oxidation, or sometimes reverse osmosis is used. You may have heard of both of those processes. We're not building either one of those processes with the treatment plant. So right now, that probably prohibits us from having that, real conversation. But it does put us in a really good position, like I said before, that we could have that, that reality at some point facing us in the next maybe 10, 20 years.
Hilton. I guess we go along with that, wouldn't we need a secondary water system for that? And that would be another multi-million-dollar project, right?
Yep, so I get asked that quite a bit about secondary water. Why doesn't Provo City have a secondary water system? In fact, just the other day, I think this gentleman was standing in the hall, and was asking about this. This decision really goes back about 60 or 80 years of Provo's history. And if you think about where Provo sits, a large majority of the projected growth in the city has already happened. And so if we had a secondary water system and the decision was made today to put it in, we would have to dig up every single road in the city and put in a separate pipe. Because secondary water is not drinkable. You have to have a separate pipe from your culinary water system. And so the expense, part of the issue right now is just simply the expense and the damage that would be done to the city. And had the decision been made probably around 60 years ago, it would have been a little bit easier. But I have to tell you, I have to defend the decision 60 years ago. Think about where they were at 60 years ago and where the source of water, and even today, where the source of water for drinking water comes from Provo. It's either groundwater wells. There's 16 wells that we get groundwater from the aquifer underneath our feet. And just a plug for ASR really quick, that's why it's a concern to us. The other location we get water is Provo Canyon. We operate springs in Provo Canyon and we collect water there. And those two sources are so clean, we really don't have to treat it. The only thing that we do is chlorinate both of those sources of water. And so think about 60 years ago, they were looking at that and saying, hey, why would we build a secondary system that's already drinking water quality and then not treat it? And they were kind of looking at that source and the cost for the pipes at that point and said, it doesn't make sense. Most people, I do have to say this, most cities that are putting in secondary water, especially in the last 20 years, they're starting to look and realize the cost effectiveness of that is starting to come into question in many of those cities. And I think it would be highly questionable, certainly at this point, to put a secondary system in Provo. In fact, I would recommend not doing that at this point. So let me just tie, my thought as far as the effluent. So back to the original question about using the effluent someplace else. It would likely, if it was used for secondary water, it would likely be in a very confined area in the city or very confined purposes. So when I say, effluent from the treatment plant, secondary water is not the only option. So again, back to the public perception, in Arizona, they use what they call direct potable reuse in some locations. It's actually going back in the drinking water. Now, don't leave the meeting thinking that that's the direction that Provo City is going. But Provo City does not need to do that. I don't think it will ever need to do that. But there may be other cities close by that may need the water at some point. And so that's really the direction that we're primarily looking at is, do you sell that water to somebody else for their purposes, whether it's secondary water or whether it's eventually drinking water? And is there going to be another city someplace that may need that? I think that's a possibility.
Dave, it might be worth mentioning that we do use that effluent to irrigate the golf course.
It is, yes, there is some portion of it. It's a pretty small amount overall, but the golf course that Doug and Parks and Rec, the effluent is used for a sprinkling system there. So we're not using any culinary water at the golf course.
Have you thought about taking it down? I mean, you're gonna widen that road to the airport to 4 lanes. Before you do that, are you gonna put pipe in there so you can possibly take it down to that large park down there? I mean, you're gonna use what, 20 million gallons a month in the summertime?
Yeah, so one of the main conversations we're having with parks is there a source of water? Obviously, we're gonna have a lot of sod there. We actually have 2 different sources that we're considering as far as not necessarily using drinking water or converting it sometime in the future. So instead of going down the road that you're talking about, the master plan that we're looking at actually goes down what is I think it's 900 south. Our pipe, if you kind of follow where Slate Canyon, the new tank was built up in Slate Canyon, near the park setting up there. We have a pipe that kind of weaves its way through that neighborhood and then comes down 900 south. And it stops right now at the railroad tracks. Will eventually carry on further west on 900 south and go out to the west side. So that's actually where we've identified a potential alignment for a pipe.
I was going to make a question. Brian Kelly, District Chair. This is for the legal aid and customer service. I've been in the neighborhood program for 26 years and I've asked for emails. I've heard multiple times that it cannot be done. Can we please get together and find a way to make it happen? So that I'm very grateful for the neighbors that did show up to this meeting today, but as I'm looking around, 60% of the people in this room are city employees. We don't have a way of communicating to our constituents, the people within our neighborhood. And it's not something that we're trying to blast people or dump spam on people. There will be a code of conduct, communication, because this will become an official Provo communication for meetings of this nature to disseminate this type of information. We've got one of the best mayors in the nation, as stated. We want to communicate that to all of our neighbors and give them the opportunity to be here with you, to hear these amazing projects that are taking place, to see how much you guys are doing for our city. Can we please find a way to do that?
Thanks for that question. It's a great question for us to talk about. And we've talked about it several times. I mean, you mentioned code of conduct. The issue is that the city already has a code of conduct about how it uses its emails, right? That when people gave us those emails, they had an understanding of what they would be used for. And we feel like it would be a violation of that code of conduct for us to use them for anything other than what they gave them to us. So we have had several meetings where we've discussed ways to have people opt in, ways to send out newsletters asking people to give emails for the neighborhood program. I think Rachel can speak to some of those things, but there are efforts underway to try to gather those and help them be distributed to the neighborhood program, because we understand that is a concern, but we don't feel with nationwide and local privacy concerns about how personal information is used. We don't feel like we feel like it would be a violation of trust for us to use emails we have for anything other than what we told people we were going to use.
Do you not feel that the neighborhood program is an official communication from the city?
It's more narrow than that. The emails we have collected, if only when we asked for them, we had said for all official communications from the city. That's not what we said. We said things like, can we have your email to get emails from the library? Can we have your email to get emails from customer service? So that wasn't the question that people were asked when they signed up.
So you're still saying no, there's not a way.
I'm saying there's not a way for us to take emails that we already have, that we have not committed people to being used for the neighborhood program and give them to the neighborhood program. But there are ways for us to try to help the neighborhood program get access to more emails, and those are underway.
Understood. We don't want them. We just want to be able to communicate to them.
Understood.
I never want to see them. I don't want to know who they are. I just want to make sure I can communicate to them.
Right, I understand.
Okay, we'll take one more question.
If nobody's gonna ask, no ask.
Reach us.
I'm scared before he gets out of the book.
Sure. My name is Arian Adams. I have a question about the project of the new waterway system by Provo High. Neighbors were talking and saying, you know, is this going to create a marsh where there will be mosquitoes and all the things that come with that, and it's right next to the high school with the students. And someone said, oh no, they spray at night. And then there was a question, do they spray at night, and what are they spraying, or are they applying something to the water to abate the mosquitoes, and so how is that being addressed?
So this is the Dave Decker question.
I don't know, or Wayne.
Dave show.
So I think what you're talking about is the Provo River Delta Restoration Project. You may have seen just recently in the last 2 weeks, where they actually opened the delta for the flow from the Provo River. So this is a project, as you'll recall, to create additional spawning locations for the June sucker, which is a threatened species. This was not probably any of our first choice about what to do with the June sucker, but it is the choice the federal government determined. They now invested tens of millions of dollars into creating the delta. So we don't manage that project. It's actually not even in the city limits. The city limits basically stop where Provo High, the new Provo High is today. And so it will be managed by what's called the Utah Reclamation and Mitigation Commission. They will own, operate, they'll contract with the state to actually do most of the operations there. And so mosquito control, we do have a mosquito abatement district in Utah County that actually has responsibility for trying to control mosquito growth. So they will have a relationship with the federal agencies that manage this, but yeah, I wish I had a simpler answer for you, but it's not even in the city limits. And so that will be managed by others, including the mosquito abatement district and those who operate and run the delta.
Maybe, when you guys send out that stuff, did you give a number to the mosquito abatement district where it's done? So someone to call?
Yeah, we'll get you information on how to reach out to those who manage the mosquito abatement.
Thank you.
So that project that she's speaking, the Delta Restoration Project, has been a project by the federal government, and it's been slow along, and it is done, and it's going to be interesting. You're exactly right. I remember when we were building the new Provo High, and the construction folks saying, we spray for spiders, and we come back the next morning, there's 50 new webs, and it's tricky when you start disrupting the soils of these generational swamplands and things like that. You do get that. Again, this is a federal project. I've been called out a lot on this project, and it's not my project. I don't know if I would do it different. I'm pretty sure would do it faster, but it is their project. So we'll just see how the federal government manages it. All right, we are out of time, and I just want to again thank you. If you have questions, and we even have folks here to answer questions, but if you have more questions, feel free to submit them to Rachel, and she will get them to us, and we will get you the answers you need. I know throughout your meetings, you meet once a month. We've already worked out a system where other departments are planning to come and speak on more specific projects to educate you and get you more informed. We're excited about the new neighborhood program. It was a huge lift for the council and a shift, but hopefully everyone will be able to embrace this new program. I know the council is really excited to see how it goes. And I just want to say thanks to the directors again for coming out tonight, and staff for giving us the time. Again, they just are wonderful people, good support system. And thank you as your mayor. It's a real privilege to serve you. I don't take this job lightly. It takes a lot of energy, and it's not a job, it's a lifestyle. And I'm just know your mayor is working very, very hard for you and on behalf of you. And I am here to support you and to keep making Provo the amazing city it was when I was born in that hospital in 1966, and keep it going so that for generations to come, this will be a destination place for people to want to come live. So thanks for allowing me to serve you. And we'll turn the time over to Chair Taylor. And let's come out to the director. They've been great. If you have a question on the ground, one of them, feel free, but.
Thank you for being here. Thank you, directors, for coming this evening. I really appreciate your time and all that you've done for us. And Mayor, thank you so much. We have invited Teri Hart to come with us. We're turning some time over to her to give us an update on Shoreline and how that project is going along.
I am on the Provo school board and part of my. And this is Derek Anderson, he's our business administrator, he's basically the CFO of the school district. And he's the one who gives the construction updates every month or during board meetings. So I'm gonna turn the time over to him, so he can explain to you guys what's going on with Shoreline.
I don't know if it's possible to pull that video, that slide right now. Right, so this is currently, as of 8 days ago, okay, so this is kind of an update of where our project is at. So what you can see here is this right here is gonna be where the soccer field are all at on this west side of the property. There's gonna be a driving lane will come down around the school and exit out of that 1100 from this 890 south area of the road and the property. This road is all being put in and being put in by us. And we're putting in the infrastructure. We've already worked with the neighbors along that road to work out the connections and the gutters and things like that. Okay. What you can see here, this project is moving very quickly. Walls are already up at a high level in certain areas of the project. Okay. This area right over here is the cafeteria. Up here is the auditorium, and down below over here is the gymnasium. As you can see, one of the major things that we're currently dealing with is a lot of weather conditions that are delaying projects and making the projects that we got going on more difficult.
What are the cross streets for this?
Sorry, was that?
What are the cross streets for the school?
The cross streets are 1100 west and 900 south is the corner.
890.
Bingo, yep, and it will be the northeast corner of that intersection. So what you see over here is all the academic wings. So this is essentially all the footings and everything ready for the academic areas of the school. Okay.
So there's the houses on 890 South.
890 will be widening south,
Correct.
not north.
Correct. So it's coming into our property. We've given up our property and so it doesn't impact the homeowners. There is one homeowner that's impacted and it's at the very west end where it connects because the road has to jog back a little bit to connect at the 890 south a little bit. So
So this is heading towards 1400 west then.
So you're gonna call it 900 south now?
I believe that's what it'll be. The randomly the road will be going here and then jog back over and connect into that one. So I believe it's gonna be 900 south with the official name.
It's moved 10 feet.
That's right.
The street sign in the new house, it says 900 south.
It says 900 now.
So you have curb gutter and sidewalk on both sides then?
Correct.
Correct.
That's correct.
Just as a heads up, Matt Walker of Ward couldn't be here this evening. He's the facility director for the LDS chapel that is to the east.
Yes,
Parking is prohibited,
correct.
but there's still a lot of construction guys in there. So
Are they?
Yeah.
Are they parking in there?
and, well, they're pushing Head Start into there. They're pushing everybody into that parking lot. He's asked, and we're trying to balance that very kindly. That needs to stop.
I will communicate with our construction team and figure out what's going on.
share everything.
And what's going on. Yeah, our construction team is fine, but they know better.
And also the for Teri, we'll need some type of procedural thing from the school saying that that's not overflow parking. Yeah, and just so that
Yeah,
there's an agreement.
This project was gonna have a lot of parking. We're gonna have actually over here, there's gonna be a parking lot that's expanded. And then along the front to where this 890 south, there's gonna be a lot of parking over here also in front of the building.
Yeah, so where the parking lot there, right next to Head Start.
So will it accommodate Head Start?
So we will allow them to, we are not marking saying this is designated.
Okay.
And then on the west side of the school, which is down here, there's gonna be another parking lot for faculty. That students don't drive in middle school, there's no parking for them. There will be bike parking,
We like parking.
lots of bike parking, but no cars, just for faculty.
And traffic flow will be from where to where? Are you for
So the
pickup?
bus
drop off?
lane is gonna be right here.
Yeah, so there'll be kind of a bus lane that comes into the front of the building, it kind of drops out and kicks back out. There'll also be another lane that comes and wraps around the school, comes in and then exits out over here.
So kind of like Mr. Mom, it's going to be very well established. East to pick up, west to drop off. Right? Very
Very correct. There'll be-
Emails from Sunset View or Amelia, or they have very specific routes you are allowed to pick up and drop off. Same thing, you'll get the same thing. All the parents will get that.
Okay, is that the end of the video?
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to just go to the next slide, if you can.
Oh, is that the same video again?
Same video, yeah.
Okay, there we go.
So the pressing questions that I received, what are the safe routes? And as you heard from the city, there's a committee in this forum that helps to determine that, okay? That kind of goes along with the city and the district. We work together to figure out, hey, what are those safe routes and how can we help the city determine some of those things and how can we work with them? When will the school be open for business? August 2024 is the projected opening. Okay, and that, as of right now, if it doesn't open, there will have to be some major holdup because this school is coming very swiftly. Okay. Who will be responsible for widening 890 South? We talked about, we've already covered the costs, already baked into the cost of the project. What are the anticipated traffic patterns? That one is, we haven't believed that there's going to be a lot of coming from that 1100 west, right down on the 890 south. There will also be some from the 900 south coming from the west side, but not near as much, right? It's mainly going to be coming from that 1100 west road. Okay, that's kind of what we're anticipating, but as the further Provo builds out west, there would be more that would come down that 900 south road. Designated parking, as we talked about, they'll be available, but we're not essentially staking it out saying this is only for them. Okay. Will the neighborhood, will there be a neighborhood open tour? Yes, we are going to have an open tour of the facility before the official start date of school. We didn't do a ribbon cutting. We're planning on doing essentially we thought it'd be a lot more fun to do a open tour than a shuffle video. So, what will be the use provisions for the indoor outdoor facilities for the public? So same as all of our other facilities are not going to be turned off to the public, but our students and our activities will have the first priority for our facilities, but they'll be able to be used, schedule them through the scheduling or through the school or through the city, because all of those areas or avenues are a way to use our facilities. So absolutely. What precautions will be in place to keep the students away from Printers Park and Swamp? We actually plan to put like a zip line right down to it.
Trouble here, so I'm waiting.
That's right. Just get it out there and go. No, we actually gonna be fencing the entire property. So the entire property will have a fence around it to make it to where you can't go that direction. I mean, we can't prevent kids from climbing the fence, but at least there's some form of mitigation there.
6 or an 8 foot chain link,
What was that? Sorry.
6 or an 8 foot chain link going around it.
My guess is, and you know what, I'm gonna say a 6 foot, but I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to go and get with our facilities tomorrow. is to figure out what's been in the process of that.
So there won't be any pedestrian access from the south from the park?
Our plan is, it will be a chain link fence throughout the whole thing, because the problem is the park that is down there doesn't have any designated walking access areas. It's just like a swampland. And so if the city had something that came through as a walking path, we would be opposed to keep having an open section like we do at other places. But as of right now, there's not enough improvements in there to say, hey, let's go in and.
So it goes right up against footprinters.
Correct. So
So they do have a gate through there, so they can go get their ball. It's the gate's there on the fence.
Now, when you say right up against footprinters, I believe, if I remember right, there's a.
Not footprinters, that fourplex ball.
And I think there's a small strip, and that's kind of what I'm referring to, is there's a small strip of land that's like 30 feet wide between the edge of the ballpark and our property line. So I think there's essentially like a warning track almost past the park, the big ballparks that the city left.
Why is this such a concern that the students are gonna fall in the pond or what?
Well, the reason why we're gating it is essentially for security and safety reasons, right? That's why we fence our gates. In terms of why that area down there is where it is, I can't, speak to that because that was the city's project. But in terms of the pond, yeah, we don't want kids, going down into the pond and, drowning, or because that'd be the worst thing that could happen is you have a kid go in there, slip a ball and couldn't swim or something, and now we're reliable because they're under right there. So.
Well, as far as you know, the school district or the city has no plans to put 1400 west, build the road north and south.
Not that I know.
Not now, not at this point.
So-
Not to my knowledge.
So essentially, your west traffic's going to dump into Crenshaw and 1600 West.
Yeah, I don't know the area well enough.
Fair enough. Crenshaw is the development just west of the elementary school, and 1600 West is an alley.
Gotcha.
And so until the city widens 1600 West, you're gonna have a lot of traffic issues on 1600 West. Sean lives in the Crenshaw development, and that's going to dump into there, because if you're going to do a, east drop off and, head west to egress, that's going to cause a lot of stressors within that region, because there's multiple directions they can go out of those neighborhoods.
Gotcha.
I'd rather go there than down 1100.
That's true, because then have a tendency to get screwed up there.
Something to take into context though is, someone who's been dropping kids off to school 17 years now. It's like 10 minutes in the morning and it's 10 minutes in the afternoon. And the way that they have everything staggered, the schools, it's not like it's gonna be an all-day traffic event. It's gonna be 10 minutes, it's 10 minutes of intense traffic activity and then it's done.
Yep.
And then it's 10 minutes and then it's done.
You don't
And
go on
it's-
1100
And I drive that road every day, I got 11.
for 30 years.
So that's just my opinion, is that, I'm not that worried about the traffic because it's literally 20 minutes of the day. And it's staggered with, the elementary school, the junior high, the high school, they don't start at the same time, so we're all gonna be traveling at different times.
Down 1100.
That's a great point, great point.
Is Head Start part of the school district?
It is not as a completely separate program.
Is that, I think there's like a.
We work with them, but that's it. So the trailer that's the north of Head Start is our construction trailers. That houses our construction teams right now as they are meeting and planning the project.
So will that go away?
Yes, it will go away. Any other questions? No other questions? Okay, I'm glad we got them answered. Okay, if anybody ever has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is derek@provo.edu. So I'm happy to, explain the projects or where we're at on anything. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
No, that's okay.
Here's our problem.
Thank you, and I appreciate all of the input from all of our neighbors on this, on these projects that are happening. Now we just kind of open up, we don't have any, projects within the district. There's nothing that's been, slated as new developments. Is basically we're gonna open up for discussion. We did want to talk about, projects. Becky, do you have, any updates on projects for our grant program?
Project?
Yeah, neighborhood grant program and the Geneva beautification project. No new updates. We do have a program that Sunset has never taken advantage of, and now that we're into the district, I'm kind of being pressured a little bit to make sure that we do use this grant program to beautify some location along, I was just thinking about the junior high. I mean, we could spring for Carson Tino wire all the way around the junior high. I mean, that might be a good project for us. Not to keep people out, but to keep the kids, no, I'm just joking. If there's any projects that you know of that we could dedicate time of our neighborhood, of our district to a certain area for beautification. Becky, what was the grant project that you guys did in your neighborhood about a park bench, something that you guys built in there?
In our neighborhood?
Yeah,
We went and joined with Parks and Rec, the new playground.
okay. Footprinters could really use a facelift, and this might be an opportunity for us to
If
use
they'll
that.
allow that to happen, when I asked about it the last time, it's not.
There, it's not even on their radar.
That's just what we do now.
Right. So if there's any other projects that you guys have been thinking about, or by next meeting, we can come up with and think about, it'd be greatly appreciated. So, Rachel, did you have anything else for us?
There's just on there, yeah, the Geneva Road Beautification Community Service Project on Saturday, April 22nd. Any type of matching grants, and then if you wanted to open it up to public comment.
And that's where we are right now. Is there anything that you guys want to bring to the floor?
Sorry, you might have talked about this before, the last meeting, my name is Stacy Beaton. And, I was wondering, what is that beautification sort of project? What is that going to entail?
The
Geneva Road beautification on the April 22nd, what are they going to be doing?
Becky, do you want to speak to that, or? I don't know about the Geneva beautification project. I'm out of that.
Is that one new that just emailed us about, or is that?
Yeah, let me check. That one is.
Okay, so it's gonna be it's gonna be huge, and the guy that's in charge of it, he's done a lot of work on it. So they're gonna go from Center Street and Geneva Road all the way to the Temple and North. And they have specific things to vote, and they're asking people to clean up the entire street. And then they have it coordinated with Provo City and with Orange City, like within a week of the cleanup, and they'll have street sweepers come out and make sure it's nice and clean and taken care of. They have trucks that are gonna get rid of all the garbage. They just want a big beautification project all along the road. It's so needed for weeding and just, yard cleanup, whatever needs to be done along that street is very limited. And so it's a huge effort. It's like two LDS stakes. And that's what they're gonna do. And I think it's an amazing project. And I asked him, I said, gosh, you guys are going to this much work. Can we use those hours? But in order to use those hours, I guess we need a project. And everything has to be done before the swipers. And right now we don't have a project. And so it's just kind of, maybe it's better that we wait a year. I don't know. I mean, it's up to everybody, and we better have our feet better grounded and then work really hard over the next year and get all these service hours in. So, yeah. Is there a way we can, I'm new to that area down there. But, I've noticed that there's a lot of dilapidated, some buildings that are, partially down, fallen down. And it seems, I'm really grateful that they're gonna be beautifying that. I think that's wonderful.
Could our grant dollars be used to like, help take down these seven buildings that are partially fallen down or dilapidated?
But you gotta be careful whose yard you're going on and what you're taking down.
Yeah.
One man's junk's another man's treasure. I mean, you gotta.
Historical building.
But, you know, I think it's great they're doing that.
My question is, where are they stopping that energy that they're going all the way to third spout?
No, but I think it's a great project to take on, and I'm grateful that you touch on as much as the opportunity. So we're asking, are they going to be able to fire that? We could, if that's what you want to do to help. But it's going to be a great big.
Becky, how do you suggest that we collect hours? I know Arian is our secretary. Do we want her to be the one in charge of collecting hours of all of the volunteer hours that we put in? Or, and so that we have at least an accounting of all of the volunteer hours that we put in?
Okay, so in the past, what I have learned is there's several projects, and so I don't know if we need to assign maybe board members to go to each one of these projects. I would suggest maybe putting that online, and you can download it and just print it out. And it's got, you put your name, your address, how many hours you have, and I think there's a signature, isn't there, Rachel?
I think so.
Do you have it? We can pull it
Yeah,
up.
so we, well,
What they use for hours?
It's the grant program is a, go ahead.
So as far as tracking, hi Karen. Karen and I used to work together in community, formerly community development. So the matching grant program, we changed the volunteer hour rate a couple years ago, so now it's tracked at $10 per hour, because that's just easy to calculate and like do some quick math if you're trying to figure out. And we have like a form that we can use to kind of track hours, but we could also like, if it would be easier to kind of create like a Google form that you could just like post a link and have people, we can figure out something that would, if that would be easier. Usually the paper forms work well when it's like a big service project event where a bunch of people are showing up and then you just have them sign in. Yeah, so for like that event on the 22nd, that would probably be the easiest way to do that, and like they just write how many hours they worked at that event. But if it's smaller projects that are kind of happening more piecemeal, maybe like a Google form could be a good way to do that.
And you just answered the question. Why the hours?
So they get.
It's a matching grant.
Okay.
So what we have to do is actually match how many hours that we. Thank you guys. Aaron. Go ahead.
I just wanted to give the feedback that, not being able to bank the hours, because sometimes it takes a year to get all these projects in and have people to show up to log the hours. And if we're strapped with, it has to be within a year, sometimes we may use a year to collect it, so that, okay, now let's talk about how we want to, what kind of project we want to do. And that takes some time. And so I just want to give that feedback. If we could please be able to bank the hours and just collect it as we go, and then be able to finally, once we get it, be able to do a project. Yeah, that's great feedback. Thank you, Ariane. I know we're making some kind of tweaks and updates to the matching grant program a lot. So it was created in the 1990s, and a lot of it hadn't changed for a long time. And so over the past few years, like I've modernized kind of like the application form and some of the other documents, but our office, there's obviously a lot of changes that happened with the new neighborhood district program. And so one of the things that we're kind of working on right now is reviewing kind of the policies related to the matching grants. So we can definitely take that feedback into consideration. Just the main intent of these projects is to kind of provide a tangible benefit to the neighborhood. And so if you in the application, you kind of demonstrate, oh, these are how we're making these hours and what they're going to be used for and how it's benefiting the neighborhood. Then I think it's like where there's a very clear connection, I think that's reasonable, and we can kind of take that into account as we write up the new policies. So
That does mean that the executive director for the district are clocking at least 10 hours a week, so we're good, right? We're collecting at least 10 volunteer hours per week, but bank that. Okay, right? I mean, this is what we're putting into it. I'm joking, okay?
Is there any other questions that we have for the neighborhood?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm just curious, has anyone talked about that amendment they're trying to make the boats amendment?
Oh, did Benedict just leave?
Yeah, he had to go.
Okay,
I'm just curious, I'm hoping we're fighting that. This has come out many years in the past, they've tried to pass this, they keep on changing the wording. And I'm hoping that the neighborhood is aware. In fact, I was gonna, when this goes to council, if we haven't already got it off of the agenda, my plan is, I look at my neighborhood and one in every 4 homes.
Exactly, and that's what I was just talking to Midnight about. He said, I said, the complaints I get are why. People want to know why you can't keep a trailer in your front yard. People want to know why my friend, my brother can't live in my trailer. People want to know why. And he said it's basically off of complaints from the neighbors, because the neighbors don't want to live in a trailer.
So, yeah,
And I said, but we've opened this up to, not the west side, but we've opened up accessory dwelling units in the backyard. What's the difference?
right.
You need to explain that to the public. And, so he said, basically, this is complaint driven, they get a ton of complaints about. This is citywide.
Well, I realize they're getting complaints. For instance, this is against our constitutional rights, it's our property. And we could go on for days about that. My problem is we have a registered trailer, boat trailer, and now all of a sudden we can't park that on our own property. I could, you know, if you want to fight on the streets, I can 100%. I mean, I can't say 100%, but I can, okay, I get it, it's a city street. But to park on your own driveway, a boat or trailer that's registered, you're paying taxes on it. I'm hoping, again, if this does go to council, I will at least try and hunt up as many people that it will affect. Because at the end of the day, now you're gonna have zoning officers going out getting tickets to people that have registered trailers. I'm just hoping that we're kind of on the same page on this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That, I've got a trailer myself that I use for my business. And and so I have to have that trailer.
Construction trailers, flatbed trailers,
I'm lawn care trailers, yeah.
So just to provide another view. It can be abused and it's really not aesthetically pleasing to look down your street and not be able to see anything but trailers and broken down cars. And we have several people in our neighborhood that absolutely abuse it. And you literally can't see their house for the amount of trailers and broken down cars and stuff in front of it. So I think that there has got to be a happy medium where we can still keep the aesthetic quality of our neighborhood, you know, and not. But because it's an ordinance right now, and you're not supposed to right now because the street is public.
you can't look at the road.
Even your parking strip is.
But you're not parking your truck.
Oh, I don't care.
Licensed trailers on your property.
in the front. You can have it on the side
But not.
or in the back,
But-
but not in the
Oh, if it's
front.
not a
No,
public
I'm
street,
talking
I
about
can-
on your driveway, you couldn't have a boat trailer or not.
Your driveway.
That's
I just
kind
don't
of-
want it
I'm
down
just-
my street for-
Yeah.
With the street, I can buy, okay, if you want to fight that.
Registered,
Hey.
no, yeah, that's totally different. too.
Only took them 3 years to move the trailer across the street.
No,
to the other place.
So what I would suggest
Yeah, I saw traffic.
is right into,
South.
when does it go, is it April, so it goes to the planning commission?
They relied on.
Yeah, let me, I think so. I think, so it is going to planning commission and it is going to the city council. So you have two chances to let your voice be heard. Either way.
That's okay, you can call me.
And I don't know if we need to have a big enough group show up.
You
I don't want this going for.
You do, you need to get, so if anything about, if you're curious about that, you need to get Harold, Neighbor, get everybody to either show up to that planning commission meeting or to write in the planning commission. Do we have a planning commission?
When is the planning commission?
Yeah, let me look, because I think it's actually going to a planning commission study session pretty soon where they're gonna go in detail explaining it. That might be a good thing to go to. You're not allowed to make public comment during the study session, but you can hear exactly what's going on. Let me double check the agenda.
They don't allow comments at the end.
This is at a study session. It's where they're explaining to the planning commission what it means. Okay, so,
That's absolutely right.
right. So at the March 22nd Planning Commission hearing, they're having a study session at 5 o'clock. And this is where Abinadai Borja, he's the zoning officer over this. He's going to be explaining it to the planning commission exactly what this ordinance means. It's not anything that you can speak at, but it might be good to come and listen so you know exactly what's going on.
Well, I read it.
And then when it goes to planning commission, you can make your comments there. You can email the planning commission.
So they've tried to do this for a long time, and I think there's been enough pushback that it's always been. But now they're changing wording. There's,
Yeah.
correct, so they're not fighting through.
Yeah,
Fighting
hang on.
Like I just.
Yeah, yes, public hearings.
Provo.org for your information. I would also highly recommend emailing all of your council members, council@provo.org. That'll get to all 7 of them.
You can also email the planning commission members at any time. I've had a lot.
Yeah.
We were talking with them several weeks before
Come on.
this came to like a study meeting, and I've had good results.
Yeah,
I would recommend, you're right now, I would recommend doing both. Because the ultimate decision maker in this process is the city council. This is gonna be heard.
Well, ultimately, it's the citizens, if there was not going to show.
Yeah,
up.
ultimately, it's the citizens. If I had to, I'd get a damn lawyer and sue them. They can't stop.
Well, it's one that, and I agree, off of the Constitution, they cannot do that, it's personal property. I'm just hoping that we fight it, and that it's a unity thing where even the rights of, again, I don't have anything parked out front like a trailer, but I look at my neighborhood, you go down the road, every 4 homes has a trailer or something that's out front that would fall into this category.
Or a utility trailer that
Right.
they take to work every day.
Right.
And it is kind of a bugger.
Well, the way it reads is that you can park it 7 days in a row in your driveway.
What's the difference?
But a maximum of 30 days per year.
2 extra cars every.
So, catching it, you can only go 7 days for a total of 30 days all year.
So you can only go water skiing during July.
Correct. I'm just saying, I have read that, I was just hoping.
I thought that the visitors thing was something like that too. You can have someone stay in your trailer for 7 days.
7 days.
It probably falls into that same category.
But you cannot do it for more than, so like, let's say I have my grandpa stay in my trailer for 7 days. I can't have him come back for 30 more days.
Okay.
So you can do that once every 30 days.
You're right, that is part of it, but for a maximum of your trailer is 30 days per year.
On
So
the
if you went 7, no, I'm talking in your driveway.
Oh, in your driveway for the loading and unloading.
Yeah.
This is coming from big story.
That's what I. That's what I.
That's where the money's coming from,
Some-
big story.
Because if everyone's parked trailer, that's a
You know, it feels that, way, and it feels like somebody's agenda trying to get.
Um,
I don't know.
What is neighborhood redistricting? Is like, is Fort Utah not a neighborhood anymore? Do they have?
And Rachel and I have had a great discussion with it. I've talked to readers about it. I don't have an answer for you yet because as the district redistricting, District 3 is everything west of the freeway. Period. The neighborhoods, Sunset neighborhood, Lakeview neighborhood, et cetera, Fort Utah, and what was it, Lakeshore. Or Lakeview, yeah, Lakeview is the one that are not being represented right
No,
now.
Fort Utah and
Fort-
Provo Bay.
Provo Bay, that's far or are not. What's that?
No, they are not.
They are not, they don't have what I used to call a neighborhood chair, there's not a neighborhood chair. So as the district executive, what's that?
So nobody applied.
Yeah,
Correct.
right. So as the district executives, we represent them as well now. I've been trying to change the vernacular a little bit. Catrice is in full support
of the neighbors still voting for the neighborhood chairs. But the executive board then manage the chairs. And so that's what we're discussing right now. Patrice is in full support of maintaining.
So each district has a board. And each district is made up of neighborhoods, and neighborhoods still have.
Should have, but they don't. Currently, they don't. I'm pushing Patrice to push it for the neighbor.
Part of the board.
Yes, yeah, and that was the original intent of that.
Right, so you have 11, sorry, yeah. So you have 11 board members that represent all of District 3.
Oh,
And those 11 board members are made up of the various neighborhoods. We want to make sure there's representatives from each neighborhood, so not all the board members are from one neighborhood. We want to spread it out. But no one from Fort Utah or Provo Bay applied to be on the board. So we still are looking for applications. You guys are short, you don't have a full board because we keep hoping people are going to apply and be on there. And so of those board members, those are appointed by the city council. Those 11 board members are appointed by the city council from whoever applies. And then from those 11, the residents chose a chair, 2 vice chairs, and a secretary. And so.
and what we were.
Right?
Well, yeah.
Part of the reason for that is this was solving kind of a historical problem with the old neighborhood program. Because we would have a couple of neighborhoods that perennially they could not keep a neighborhood chair. And so then neighbors in that area like weren't getting information, they didn't have meetings, they weren't being able to be involved. And so by having this executive board that's kind of comprised of people from all the different neighborhoods, a resident who doesn't have like in one of those neighborhoods that have a hard time keeping a neighborhood chair, they can still like be involved as much as they want. Their voice is still being heard, and there's still kind of that two-way communication happening through the neighborhood district program. And so that's kind of why the new program is structured the way that it is. That's the issue that we were trying to solve.
And it is an issue that we don't have.
Right.
Representation.
We have District 3 has 8 representatives, so we're still looking for
At least 2 more.
at least
We
2.
need 2 more, and we do want to volunteer somebody, so if they. You want to be voluntold?
Well,
Okay, congratulations, you got the job.
I wanted to get the next, yeah, I don't know, I just feel like, it's kind of sad to see this many people show up to a neighborhood meeting. I mean, this is really where that change happened within our area.
And that's my push for emails.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. I guess I agree with you. And it might be a lot of people don't know when the neighborhood meeting and everything else. I mean, it's.
I've been clamoring for 26 years now, still nothing. So.
Brian, we do have an interest here,
Yes.
more interest for discussion on the levies. And I think that's tentative on our agenda for next time for the April meeting, right?
Yeah.
But those pictures that were out,
May.
those end of April.
6. Okay.
Those pictures that went out as part of the supplemental things,
Document.
they were very fuzzy in council meeting and they're very fuzzy. Is there a way that we can get better copies of those maps? So they're just.
Not yet. So FEMA is still.
FEMA's
process of
working on it.
developing the final maps. So that is where they are at currently. They're working with multiple consultants to formulate those maps. So we've been told that as they continue their process, they'll update the city and subsequently will distribute that information out to the neighborhoods.
I think the interest more in the next meeting is more, there's still a discussion to be had of whether the city has the money or wants to put the money towards the levees that are along the river. And some residents would rather pay flood insurance versus having a new levee constructed in their backyard. I'm sure there's some that like the reversal, but they feel, and I felt like they deserve to know more about that so that they can plead their cause to the city council. Does that make sense?
So what I'll say is
the city council meeting before, State Decker from Public Works. And a public works consultant gave a presentation from the city's perspective on those levies. They've got a consultant that has submitted 2 grants to FEMA to help fund what that new levy construction would look like. So it's a waiting game at this point to see if either of those grants will be awarded by FEMA, to really make that determination to see if there's even a financial feasibility for the city. I think Dave shared in that meeting that it's something to the tune of $60 million to rebuild those levies. So
I think we just want to make sure there's a conversation at that decision point. They don't just say, we have the money, so let's turn on all the cottonwoods in the levees. That they don't, there's some discussion about, is that the direction we want to go? Because there's
Sure. No, I understand the concern. What I would say is that is nowhere in the near future.
I'm puzzled by why, if it's worthwhile to put out the documents, why not put them out where you can read them? They're just so fuzzy.
That's a great question for the federal government. We have those same questions. So.
Do you know who the consultant is?
I do not know. So Jamie Huff from the State Department of Emergency Services presented on behalf of FEMA, who has a consultant. So there's quite a few layers as to who's working on those maps.
But just can you communicate that to council that
Congratulations.
at least
Can
the people, I've not just heard just from the people in Lake Wisconsin, I've also heard from the people in Lake Wisconsin. This impacts them greatly. This is their home. They really want to be part of that discussion.
Absolutely, and I think the council knows that, we'll communicate that. I think the council wants that same information. In fact, I know they, so as soon as that information is available, I know the first thing they want to do is share that.
Well, at least have a discussion with them of what they want, instead of the council making a decision for them. Having that discussion is really helpful. This is what the construction is gonna look like, this is how it's going to impact your house. Now, you guys, what, we want to hear feedback from you, more than just open city hall, we'd like a meeting for them to have.
No, I see what you're saying. I just think we're putting the cart a little too far before source on that. We're a ways. I mean, we're a ways. I know that.
They applying for the grant is implied possibly some intent. Now, that's not. I know we applied for money to build something, but if we haven't decided to build it yet, that's just on the corner.
But isn't part of that funding supposed to go for the airport levies as well? Or is that a completely different levy?
No, that would be part of those as well.
So those are priorities from what I understood, right? The airport levies?
There was no priority given.
Okay.
So there's a number of levies running from around the airport, closer to the lake, and then upstream of the river. And mostly on the west side, most of the
Much, Justin. Any other questions we can talk about the levies more?
Amazing.
I think we've run out of time right now, and would like to welcome our newest member.
All in favor? Thank you for being voluntold to participate. I really appreciate you being here tonight and for all of the input, and I'm really grateful for our mayor. This is the first time that I've ever had a mayor at one of our meetings and to support us in such a fashion. We are very, very fortunate to have that level of support. And I'm going to continue to push for Michelle to continue to make the city resources available to this program. And that's one of the things that we would like to see proceduralized within the city, because it's time consuming. The neighborhood program does have questions, they have developments, they have problems, they have issues they want to address. It does take away from their resources, and we want to continue to down that. As long as I'm still standing, I'm going to continue to push for email. So thank you, Rachel, for your time tonight and for all of your help. Did we have anybody actually call in?
We had quite a few people online, but nobody that commented or raised their hand. No, nobody chimed in. We had about 5.
Area,
Yeah.
and Sean and Brooke, I want to thank you for your support. We're going to go ahead and continue our bi-weekly meeting and continue to discuss these issues. And as our executive board grows, we want to start including what's your guys' thought? Do you want to continue bringing more people into those Zoom meetings and discuss questions like this development with the trailers and things that are happening?
I mean, I don't see why not. The more collaboration we have, I think the better off.
Yeah, and with regards to the apartments, with all of the stuff that Rachel provided this last week, that was wonderful. Thank you, Rachel, for all of that. So there's a lot happening on the west side. We want to make sure we stay ahead of it, and we want to take some of the burden off of Becky's shoulders. She's been saddled with this for so long. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you.
What did you mean, John?